The nights had become different for Jungkook and Ryan. The bitterness and the misunderstandings had melted away, replaced by care and tenderness. Jungkook now made it his mission to ensure Ryan was happy, especially during her cravings were no longer met with cold indifference but with warmth and effort. One night Ryan woke up again, her stomach rumbling with a familiar craving. She turned in bed, trying to ignore it, but the desire for tteokbokki would not let her sleep. She sighed and sat up slowly, intending to sneak to the kitchen. But before she could move, Jungkook stood behind her, his sleepy voice laced with concern. Where are you going? I'm just hungry. Jungkook sat up, rubbing his eyes. Without another word, he got out of bed and pulled on a hoodie. While blinked in surprised eyes, he grabbed her hand gently. Stay here, I'll bring it. What do you want? Tteokbokki. Wine's heart swelled as she watched him head to the kitchen. Moments later, the smell of spicy tteokbokki filled the air. Jungkook returned with a steaming bowl, setting it on the bedside table. He helped her sit up and placed the bowl in her hands, watching as she took the first bite with a satisfied hum. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. Thank you, Jungkook. He smiled softly, brushing her hair back. You don't need to thank me. Just tell me next time, okay? Wine nodded, her heart full of gratitude, and she continued eating. The evening was calm, the faint aroma of delicious food wafting through the air. Wine has spent the entire day preparing a feast for Jungkook, wanting to do something special for him. With the help of her office friend Maya, she had decorated the dining area with candles and flowers, creating a warm and intimate ambience. By the time she finished, everything looked perfect. She stood back admiring the setup with a soft smile, hoping Jungkook would appreciate her efforts. The sound of the front door opening pulled her out of her thoughts. She hurried to the door, her heart fluttering. Jungkook stood there, his tie slightly loosened, his face showing signs of a long day. Before he could say anything, Wild leaned up and softly then wrapped her arms around him in a warm hug. Welcome home. Jungkook smiled softly, his exhaustion easing as he felt her embrace. When she tried to take his bag, he gently pulled it back, shaking his head. You don't need to do this. You should be resting. You didn't even have to come and open the door. Vine giggled, her tone playful. I'm not that weak, Jungkook. Jungkook sighed but could not help the small smile tugging at his lips. As he stepped inside, his eyes immediately went to the dining area. The soft glow of candles, the arrangement of flowers, and the array of dishes laid on the table made him stop in his tracks. His brow furrowed and he turned to Vine. Did you do all of this? Vine nodded eagerly, her eyes shining with excitement. But her smile faltered when Jungkook's expression turned serious. Why did you do this? Vine's excitement dimmed and she looked at him hesitantly. I just, I wanted to do something for you to make you happy. I wanted to make up for my mistake. Although it's not enough and it can redo the hurt I caused you, I didn't do it alone. Maya helped me. Her voice wavered slightly as she looked down, her fingers twisting nervously. Jungkook's heart softened instantly. He placed his back on the couch and stepped forward, pulling her into a gentle hug. He kissed her forehead, his tone filled with affection. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scold you, and we promised not to bring up our past mistakes. Thank you so much for this. I was starving and it all looks amazing. Let me freshen up and then we'll eat together. Vine nodded, her smile returning as she watched him head to the bedroom. A moment later, she followed him, peeking inside to find Jungkook standing still, his eyes scanning the room. It was decorated with soft lights and subtle floral arrangement, just like the dining area. He turned toward her, a teasing glint in his eyes. Looking at the room decorated like this, Vine's cheeks flushed a deep red as she stammered. It's not like we can't do. Jungkook smirked, stepping closer, caging her between himself and the wall. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a low murmur. Then maybe I should. Vine placed her hands on his chest and gently pushed him back, her voice soft but firm. First go freshen up. Dinner is getting cold. Jungkook laughed. At dinner, the atmosphere was light and warm. Jungkook sat across from Vine, his plate piled with food, and a wide grin on his face as he savored every bite. This is amazing. You knew food would make me happy, didn't you? That's why you went all this trouble. Vine chuckled softly, watching him eat with such enthusiasm. I know how much of a foodie you are. Maya helped me though. Jungkook reached across the table, taking her hand in his. He lifted it to his lips and placed a gentle kiss on her knuckles. I love these hands even more now that they have made such delicious food. And please thank Maya for helping you. but I'm still amazed you put in so much effort. Vine smiled shyly, her heart flirting at his words. Jungkook's love and appreciation filled the room, making her feel cherished and adored. It was moments like this that reminded them both of the strength of their bond and the brighter days ahead. Vine woke up craving ice cream in the middle of night. She shuffled to the kitchen only to find the fridge empty. Disheartened, she turned to the bed. Jungkook was also awake by now. Her pout did not go unnoticed by him, who had been silently observing her. You want ice cream, don't you? Vine's eyes widened in surprise, but she looked away embarrassed. Jungkook got up, grabbing his keys. I'll find some. Vine tried to stop him, but he was already out the door. Jungkook drove through the quiet city, his determination growing with each closed shop. Finally, after an hour of searching, he found a small convenience store at the edge of the city. He returned home with 3 tubs of different flavors, handing them to emotional Vian. You didn't have to go so far. For you, I'd go to the end of the earth. Vian smiled, her cheeks flushed as she hugged him tightly. Jungkook took great care of Vian. He took care of everything Vian needed. Vian too did her best to make Jungkook happy. Although he scolded her many times not to do anything and just rest, but she was stubborn. She learned making different dishes online and made it for Jungkook. Jungkook also cleared everything about her in the office, that she was his girlfriend and now his wife. He even warned them if they talk again about her, they'll be fired from the company. 1 month passed. They were in hospital. Jungkook held Vian's hand tightly as they waited for the doctor's announcement. The screen lit up and the doctor pointed at the image. Congratulations. Vian and Jungkook exchanged a look, their faces lighting up with the joy. But the doctor frowned slightly, flipping through the Vian's medical history. I noticed you haven't been coming in for regular checkups. Why is that? Vian hesitated, forcing a smile. I've been busy with work. Jungkook didn't say anything, but he knew there was more to the story. After the appointment, he drove to a quiet restaurant for lunch. Vine was surprised when instead of heading home afterward, Jungkook drove out of the city. Jungkook, where are we going? You'll know. They arrived at a serene hilltop with a stunning view. Jungkook helped her out of the car and led her to a spot under a tree. They could see the city from above and the roof was looking so beautiful. I wanted to bring you somewhere peaceful. Vine looked at him, her heart full as she took her hands in his. I love you, Vian. I love our baby. Thanks for staying with me, for giving me another chance. Tears filled Vian's eyes, but Jungkook's tone turned serious. Why didn't you go to doctor earlier? Vian hesitated, but his steady gaze encouraged her to speak. I couldn't afford the appointment back then. I went to free medical camps whenever I could. I need to save for our baby. Jungkook's eyes filled with tears as her words sank in. He pulled her into a tight hug, his voice trembling. I'm so sorry, Vian. I should have been there for you. Thank you for protecting our baby, for enduring so much. Vian broke the hug, cupping his face. It's not only your fault, Jungkook. I was the reason behind all of this. I'm grateful that you gave me a chance to. We are both to blame, Jungkook, but it's all in the past. We're here now together. He nodded, tears streaming down his face. Vian wiped them away, pecking his forehead. After a moment of silence, he spoke again, his voice softer yet filled with curiosity. Why didn't your parents take you to America with them? Wouldn't they have wanted to help you? Vine's expression darkened slightly, but she answered calmly. They abandoned me. His eyes widened in shock. I refused, so they left me instead. Jungkook was crying by now, his guilt overwhelming him. He hugged her tightly, his voice breaking. I'm so sorry, Vine. I don't deserve you. Thank you for not giving up on our even when everyone else did. I promise I'll make it up to you. Vine gently wiped his tears. You don't have to make anything up to me. Please don't say you don't deserve me. It's me who doesn't deserve you. I love you, and I always will be there. Let's leave the past behind and focus on the future together. Jungkook nodded, resting his forehead against hers, his arms carefully cradling her. His heart swelled with gratitude and love as they sat there, the weight of the past lifting as they looked forward to their future as a family. The delivery room was quiet, the faint cries of a newborn filling the air. Jungkook held his baby boy in his arms, his heart swelling with emotions he could not put into words. Finally unconscious on the hospital bed, her face pale but peaceful. The doctor had assured him that she was simply exhausted and needed rest, but Jungkook could not help but worry. It had been 3 hours since, and Jungkook had not left her side, though his focus kept shifting between her and the child. Finally, Vine stood, her fingers twitching slightly before her eyes fluttered open. She looked around disoriented for a moment before her gaze landed on Jungkook. Her voice was hoarse but filled with urgency. My baby. Jungkook stood immediately, walking to her side, with the baby still cradled in one arm. He smirked softly, his tone teasing but warm. Wait, baby. Wine smiled weakly, her eyes glistening with happy tears. My little baby. Jungkook chuckled, helping her sit up carefully before placing their son in her arms. Wine's hand trembled as she held him, her heart flowing with love and relief. Jungkook sat beside her, watching the scene with a soft smile. I'm also your little baby, aren't I? Wine chuckled lightly, though exhaustion still lingered in her voice. No, you're my big one. They both laughed quietly, their joy filling the room. Wine looked down at their baby, tracing his tiny features before pouting slightly. I carried him for 9 months and he looks exactly like you. Jungkook laughed, leaning closer to kiss her temple. Of course he does. After all, I'm his father. But those big almond eyes, they're all yours. Wine smiled softly, her gaze never leaving their son. Jungkook shifted behind her, wrapping his arms around both Wine and the baby, careful not to apply any pressure on her. I love you both so much. Thank you for staying with me, for giving me a chance. Thank you for everything. Have I finally proven myself to you? Am I worthy of you now? Wine turned her head slightly to look at him, her eyes shimmering with emotions. None is more worthy of my love than you, Jungkook. I love you so much. And always will. I'll never leave you, even if you ask me to. Thank you for giving me a chance to. Let's promise we'll share everything from now on. And did you forgive me? How can't I when you gave me such a beautiful gift? Jungkook smiled, a tear escaped as he leaned closer, his tone soft and full of affection. Promise. Vine raised her pinky playfully. Let's seal it. Instead of joining his pinky, Jungkook leaned in and, pulling back with a smirk, sealed. Vine blushed slightly and about to say something when they heard a soft groan. Both their heads turned toward the baby, their faces lighting up with love. Oh, my baby wants attention. Sorry, boy, but your mother is so beautiful and cute that I can't help it. Both of them chuckled as they cooed over the baby, their fingers gently tracing his tiny hands and feet. Their little family, once fractured by pain, now felt whole, surrounded by warmth, love, and hope for a beautiful future together.